Hey, shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, peace and blessings to you fellow brothers pushing out this word and truth. And it's a series of Chanak, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. And here I have a couple articles that I just wanted to touch on. This is so-called Valentine's Day, and I just found it interesting that Canada invoked these emergency powers, which gives them more power over the citizens due to this trucker protest, which they're labeling the truckers as bigots and racists and extremists. And we know really why the truckers, that freedom convoy, as they're calling it, why they're doing what they're doing. And then why there's a blockade, why they have stopped, moving goods, okay, which is affecting Canada, which in turn they had to invoke, this emergency powers, okay. Now this could be all set up, or it could be, genuine, and they're just taking these measures, but we know the devil. He's, he has his hand in everything. He's going to try to spin it and use it to his advantage. But one thing we know is that he's what's the word? He's in a pickle. He's not doing too good. That's why he has to take these measures. And because the people are, fighting against this man, fighting against his wicked, evil measures. Okay, let me bring out a scripture really quick. In Psalms 94 and 20. This is Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? Okay, the people that are in rulership, Canada, United States, the EU, all these Edomite countries, that's the throne of iniquity. Okay. And they frame mischief. Let's look at this word mischief, because this is all mischief, and they're blaming, okay, that word is imal, which means toil, trouble, labor, right? Mischief. They're blaming the truckers for what they're doing. When the truckers, they like, hey, look, if we don't do anything, all our rights are going to be taken away. And this is essentially what's happening. The elite, the wicked elite, are taking all the rights away from the people through laws. Now let's read a little bit of this. I got two articles. We'll read a little bit. They're really short. We'll read through them and then show you how, how things are turning up, things are turning up while everybody is, taking their dates out, buying roses and chocolate. The devil, they're invoking emergency powers that have never been invoked before. But they were on the books though. Okay, they were on the books, as we're going to read here in these articles. So this is from RT. Canada invokes emergency powers to deal with trucker protests. And them truckers have been out there for a couple of weeks, and it's actually affecting a lot of the global supply chain, especially the auto industry. Okay, plants, certain plants of like Ford and different auto industry, car makers. They had to shut down certain plants in certain areas because goods are not coming in. This is only going to affect the people more and more. So really, the elites, they do want this, so they can become more tyrannical. Okay, under the excuse of we got to protect the people. Canada invokes emergency powers to deal with trucker protests. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau invokes powers last used by his father to battle Quebec separatists in 1970. So you can see that those that are in these positions, they're elites, and it's a family thing, and you just can't climb up into power unless you're tied in, So Trudeau, he has a long history of his family being in power, and he's not going to give that up. Okay, what do they do? Well, they're gonna actually grab more power. Okay, and we're gonna read. Okay, let's read to show you that these governments that are with the beast, all they're doing is just grabbing power from the American people. Okay, or in this case, the Canadian people, the Edomites. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has invoked the Emergency Act for the first time. Okay, this has never actually happened before. The Emergency Act for the first time in Canada's history on Monday, citing the threat of freedom convoy, right? Trucker protests in Ottawa and several border crossings in the U.S. So they're pretty much blocking off all the border crossings from Canada to the U.S. Okay, and remember, everything that you have in your house, everything that you get, okay, physically, okay, it's through a truck. Okay, a lot of time it's through a ship from overseas, and then the truckers, they pick it up and then they deliver it to different states, different cities. Okay, so if those, major ports are blocked off, you're not going to receive those goods, which is going to just put more strain on the supply chain, the global supply chain. Remember, everything's interconnected globally through these governments, and it's going to, create a supply and demand issue, okay, an inflation issue, because goods are going to be that much more rare to have, to get, to find. This is not a peaceful protest, which, they can say anything. Trudeau said in a speech on Monday afternoon, adding that illegal blockades have been disrupting the lives of too many Canadians. Right. And that's exactly what they want. They want to disrupt the life and cause, the government to pretty much, turn, these mandates. And I'm going to try to use my words, carefully, because, more topics are becoming more sensitive. So I'm not, just work with me, Lord's will, you'll be able to understand everything. Because, the devil, he'll just take the video down, because he doesn't want alternative, he doesn't want anybody to hear alternative story to his madness. He just wants you to hear, one thing. Okay, these people there, it's dangerous, when they don't even tell you why, the reason why they're doing it. Why do you have all these truckers galvanizing together, saying, look, why would they block these ports? Why would they do that? Because the government is taking more power, and pretty much this is it, man. The beast is coming down. Okay, let me bring that out. Okay, this is all part of the beast coming down, and they're going to use these different laws. Well, we just read the form of mischief by law. They're going to use these different laws to be able to lock you up. Okay, to label you an extremist, to label you a terrorist, and that's what they're doing. Okay, they said they found guns, they found this, they found that. So there's going to be a big insurrection against the government. 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Okay, but let me read this. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea! Exclamation mark. Okay, because hey, great judgment is coming. Okay, the devil is just going to come in, and he's setting the stage. He's giving the excuse to come in. Okay, by making these or passing these laws, which we're going to go back into the article. These laws been on the books for like 30, 40 years. Okay, but this is the perfect time to implement them. Say, hey, look, see, this was on the book. This is legal. This is legal. I can come in and I can take away your arms. I can take away I can limit your movement. Okay, I can cause certain limitations on the economy. Okay, because we're doing it for the safety of the government, the safety of the people. This is for you. Okay, for the devil shall come down unto you, and this is part of it, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. Okay, Edom knows he has a short time. He sees the prophecies. He sees the Israelites. That's another thing on his table. He has to deal with the Israelites. I was seeing the elder Yashawama going into that, how they were trying to link us with Satanism. They're constantly calling us Black Hebrew Israelites, but this man, he's on the ropes, man. He's on the defense. We're on the offense. Okay. Spiritual juggernauts. We're just breaking down all these different lies, man, that are in, that are bred into this society. Okay, white supremacy, Edomite supremacy. Okay, so we don't have nothing really. This is all good news. We're literally seeing the prophecies take place. We're seeing the people stand against the government and is going to turn violent. Okay, why do they why are they increasing why are they increasing their military and police power? After consulting premiers, government, and opposition, okay, the federal government has invoked the Emergency Act, Trudeau said, confirming media reports from earlier in the day that he would do so. Like I said, this could be all set up. Okay. Esau, he has his hand in everything. And he's constantly in, these say that it wasn't set up. Well, he's constantly, okay, how do we deal with this? Oh, we have this law. Okay, let's infiltrate. Let's do this, let's do that. And then we can implement, we can pass this. This is all part of this man's his agenda. Remember, order out of chaos. Okay, that's how the wicked elite of the world, that's how they roll. Okay, to cause the chaos, and then to bring in the order, and then to be deemed as saviors. The measures will be time limited, geographically targeted, as well as reasonably to address. The PM said it does not involve calling in the military. Now, when I first saw this, they said that it was about calling the military, but they're going to spin it. And I guarantee you, if you go into the actual act, they have the ability to call the military. That's why they have to say that they're not going to call the military, or suspension, or suspending fundamental rights and freedoms. Which this is all code word for. This is exactly what it does. Okay, it's to bring the military in, and it's to suspend your fundamental rights and freedoms. Okay, that's pretty much how this man gets down. He newspeak. He speaks with a forked tongue. Okay, that's why the scriptures say, "Never trust thy enemy." So this is exact. If you want to know what this is about, all you have to read is read what he says it's not about. Okay, he's saying that it's not about the military. It's not about suspending fundamental rights and freedoms, but that's exactly what it is. Okay, let me continue. This is about keeping this is about keeping Canadians safe, protecting people's jobs, restoring confidence in our institutions, because them protesters protesting, that challenges the Canadian government, and they can't have that, because once people lose faith in a government, then that's all out anarchy, and it's very hard to restore peace. So they have to jump on it. Okay, they have to jump on it. We are reinforcing the principles, values, and institutions that keep all Canadians free. Okay, Trudeau noted that it was the first time in Canadian government has invoked the Emergency Acts, okay, which was passed in 1988. Okay, so 1988, 1998, 2000, was that 2008? My math could be over 20 something years, right? Yeah, about 24 years. This act was put on the books, which was passed in 1988 to replace the War Measures Act of 1914. So why are they using the act that's equated with the war? Okay, because everything that Esau he attaches himself to, or he tries to quell, he does it by violence. Okay, the war on drugs, the war on the scamdemic, the war on freedom. It's always the war. Okay, the WMA was used during both world wars to intern Canadians of German and Japanese origin and impose restrictions on the economy. So basically what they did was, the War Measures Act was, used during these wars, and they'll put these, so-called Canadian citizens that were German and Japanese, they'll put them in those concentration camps, which America did as well. But now what this new Emergency Act did, it opened up the government having power to do it on any Canadian citizen. It is pretty much, it was revised and renamed. Okay, the War Measures Act now is the what is it, the Emergency Power Act or whatever. So what did they do during that? They put the so-called Germans and Japanese. They put them in concentration camps. They limited their movement. They restricted them. Okay. It was mostly recently invoked in 1970 by Trudeau's father, see, Perret, to crack down on Quebec separatists who had kidnapped a lawmaker, and that was probably set up as well, so they could pass this law. Close to 500 people have been arrested on that occasion. So there was an insurrection when his father was in power. Thousands of Canadian truck drivers. So they're always thinking like, okay, what if something happens where people rise up? Well, we have to have laws on the books so where we can come and grab them up. Thousands of Canadian truck drivers and their sympathizers, you see, they call them sympathizers, have taken part in a nationwide protest January 22nd with a freedom convoy because they want to be free. Esau wants to be free, but look, Esau, this is your time to go, to be judged. This is your time to lose your freedoms. This is your time to fight against the government. Okay, so we're going to see that. We're going to see insurrections. And this is all according to prophecy, by the way. Driving across the country to picket the parliament in Ottawa starting on January 29th. The protesters demand an end to I'm not going to even, if you're watching it, you already know what it is, the whole mandate. And mass, so-called things, laws. I just call them laws. Trudeau has denounced the truckers as a fringe minority with unacceptable views. So there's the demonization. Okay, before they come in and just grab people up, what do? They demonize them. And there's a lot of people that are actually so-called sympathizers, man. But the masses of the people, they're not going to, it's going to come to a point. It's going to come to a point where people are going to lose it. When they have nothing else to lose, they lose it. Was that one guy, he said that? I forget his name. Trudeau denounced the truckers as a fringe minority with unacceptable views and accused them of bigotry. So here it is. Here, you see how they just throw out these words. They're bigots. It says racism, Nazism, and violence. Refusing to meet with them. Oh, these are the worst. These are the worst people ever. Through several Canadian provinces have announced the end of the scandemic restrictions, Trudeau is still refusing to lift the federal mandates. So there's infighting within the government, state government and federal government, right? And the federal government is constantly trying to gain more power over the states, okay? You have federal laws and you have state laws, also county laws and city laws, okay? So there's another article just to kind of explain a little bit more of what this is. I just want to read some bullet points. Maybe get one or two more scriptures and then, just close it out. What is, because, things are turning up, okay? And a lot of times they do things, on, so-called holidays, when people are not, really paying attention. They're distracted, as well as these holidays, so to speak. They're filled with nothing but satanic and demonic rituals as well. So they get power from these days. Okay. What is Canada's Emergency Act invoked against Freedom Convoy? PM Justin Trudeau claims sweeping powers, right? He's getting more power to crack down on truckers protesting his C-19 scam dates. Okay. What is the Emergency Act? Adopted in 1988, the Emergency Act, also known as this French word, authorized the federal government in Ottawa to temporarily claim extraordinary powers in response to an emergency that seriously endangers the lives, health, or safety of Canadians and is of such proportion or nature as to exceed the capacity or authority of a province to deal with it. So basically, if there's a province, okay, or authority, say, Ottawa, for example, a province of Canada, which I believe is the capital, right? If they're, if they feel like, Ottawa, police force or whatever can't handle it, the federal government can come in with great power and pretty much put everything back in order. It gives the federal government power over the state. Okay. Has it been used before? The Emergency Act has never been invoked before. And you're going to start seeing that a lot. You're going to start seeing a lot of these laws that are on the books, that have been on the books for years, start to pretty much be implemented. Okay, they're going to give excuse. Okay, the Canadian state broadcaster CBC called its invocation on Monday unprecedented, right? Meaning it never happened before. Its previous version, the War Measures Act of 1914. So basically, this is pretty much a War Measures Act. Okay, they're treating the Canadian people as these so-called protesters, as separatists, okay, as enemies of the state, okay, as if there was a wartime. Now they just changed the name. Had been used 3 times previously in response to the First World War. See, the Second World War. So this has already been used 3 times. Two of the times it was the First World War and the Second World War. Now there's another scripture. What is that? Revelation. Let's go 11:14. Revelation 11:14. The Second War was past. Before that, let's go to Revelation 9. Okay. Revelation 9 and 12. One woe is past. That's the First World War right there. Okay. In the response to the First World War, see, the Second World War, let's go back. One woe is past. That's the First World War. And behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. So there's 2 more woes. The Second World War and then the Third World War. Now, amongst all this, you have issues going on with Ukraine, okay, Russia and NATO. Okay, remember, Iran is still in the mix. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Ethiopia. Okay, these are going to be big-time players in this Third World War, as well as America, NATO, and the EU. Okay, so there's 2 more woes. They also implemented in the Second World War. And the October crisis, there's another crisis, okay, when French-speaking separatists in the province of Quebec abducted a member of parliament. Like I said, this could have been all set up just to invoke this law, just to invoke more power. The PM who invoked it at the point was Pierre Elliott Trudeau, the current prime minister's father. So it's a family business. And these people are not giving up law. They're juiced in. They go back. I wouldn't be surprised if Trudeau goes back to one of the Rothschilds, one of the Rockefellers, or one of those families. More than likely, okay. More than likely, they come from those families, okay, because they marry within each other, intermarry to keep that power, okay. Now they're not gonna marry somebody to bring them into that family, okay. So his father was in power. And he's in power. His son was brought up to be in power as well. Okay, is this martial law? Okay, why are they bringing out this article? Because a lot of people have questions. Okay, and technically this is martial law. When you go into it, this is actual martial law. Technically, no. That's how you know this damn devil. He speaks with a forked tongue. Okay, Trudeau himself pointed out there will be no troops in the street. Right, he doesn't have to send troops. But he could. Things can get out of hand. However, the emergency power vastly increases the power of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, see, to act against what the PM calls illegal blockades and occupations in specifically designated locations, right? Because they're pretty much stopping goods from coming in and out. They're hurting businesses. They're hurting the American government. Okay. It's hurting them to where they have to implement these laws. Like I said, it can be all set up. Everything really is a setup. You can't trust nothing outside of the scriptures. Now everything plays into prophecy. That's what we can trust. Whether how if it was set up deceitfully, whether it was set up deceitfully or it was grassroots, it was organic. That doesn't matter. Prophecy is prophecy. Okay. It also grants the government financial intelligence agency, FinTrack, additional authority over bank. What? authority over banking, online fundraising, and cryptocurrency transactions. So they're pretty much stopping you from buying and selling. They have more power over buying and selling. FinTrack, financial track. Let me look at this FinTrack. I know there's something called FinTech, financial tech. So now they added that. They added to where they can, pretty much stop you from, getting money, getting any type of online fundraising. I know they had it to where, they block certain online fundraising for, those truckers. Okay. They can come into your bank account. That's what it sounded like. Okay. And they have power over cryptocurrency transactions. So they want power over everything. This sounds to me, like the beast system that's being set up, to where he calls of all, both small and great, rich, free and bond, rich and poor, to receive a mark, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark. Okay, this is all this is what is leading to. Okay, and they have this law on books to implement this, to give the government more power. How the hell does the government have power, okay, over cryptocurrencies, over transactions? FinTrack, Financial Transaction and Reports Analyst Center of Canada. About FinTrack. FinTrack Transaction and Reports Analyst Center of Canada is Canada's financial intelligence unit. It mandates to facilitate the detection, prevention, and deterrence of money laundering and the financing of terrorist activities, while ensuring the protection of personal information under its control. So pretty much, they've already deemed this convoy terrorists. So now they can come in and they can stop certain transactions, because how do you quell a movement? Well, you hit it where it hurts, and that's finance. Okay, because you need food, you need water, you need money to buy these things. Okay, you need money to survive. Okay, and everything in the system is digitally. It's like a digital transaction for the most part. People don't use cash, so they have more power within this emergency act. They have more power to govern transactions as well as cryptocurrencies. Okay, that's part of it too. Okay, regulation. This is all part of regulation. So I just wanted to see what that FinTrack was all about. Which measures will be taken? This is the point number 4. According to Trudeau, local police will have more tools to restore order. In places where public assemblies have been declared illegal and dangerous, such as outside the Parliament in Ottawa and at U.S.-Canada border crossing, the RCMP will also be able to enforce provincial and municipal laws where required. Border crossings and airports have been designated critical areas, so they can make up anything. Will be kept clear of demonstrators. The government is also empowered to commandeer the services of towing companies to remove the big rigs and used by protesters. Let's look at this word commandeer. We know what it is, right? But let's look at it. To seize for military or police use, compensate. So this power gives the federal Canadian government power to seize, towing companies, and make them tow big rigs. This is the time. This is this is war laws where they can come and they can seize a business, because these companies, these tow truck companies, they don't want to tow. They don't want to have that responsibility of trying to tow these big rigs, because they're in the trucking industry. Okay, that it affects them. These mandates affect them as well. But what the government can do, they can come in, they can commandeer, meaning to seize. Okay, they can do a military seize of your tow truck company, and they can either make you do it, okay, or they can have military personnel. They can have troops. What do they call it? National. What do they call them? Troops. National Guard. They can have the National Guard. They can train them to come in and do it. The government will also has told banks to review the relationship with anyone involved with the protest and freeze their assets without a court order. See, so hey, your bank account can get frozen. That's what they're going to do. FinTrack, which was created to do such things, authority over cryptocurrency transactions, crowdfunding platforms, and payment services provided, has been expanded under laws against money laundering and terrorist financing. And they're claiming that this is terrorism. Okay, as we're going back to was that Psalms 94 and 20? He frameth mischief by a law. The emergency. This is bullet point 5. How long will it last? The emergency went into effect on Monday afternoon, and it's initially supposed to be in effect for 30 days, though it could be extended. Under the law, the parliament must approve the declaration of emergency within 7 days. It will be revoked if either the House votes against it. So, I mean, that's pretty much it on that. You get that. Let's go to Revelation 11 and read that. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is passed. So that emergency, that war emergency act was passed back then during the second woe, the first woe, the second woe, and then a crisis. Okay. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay. And this is right around the time of the Third World War heating back up. Okay. Because it's all biblical prophecy. So these governments are going to implement more of these laws, man. They're already on the books. Okay. So the third woe cometh quickly. I want to bring out, I'll just finish off in 2 Ezra 15, because this is going to spill over to sedition. Okay. Which is, protest or outrage or, even fighting against the government and the powers that be, which they're going to bring in, martial law. Okay. So a soft martial law was declared, during this whole scandemic, a soft martial law, or you can even call it a medical martial law. There was certain, people were being deemed as, a terrorist. You had the Capitol, the siege on the Capitol, so to speak, which we know all these things were set up. Also, Black Lives Matter, we know that was a setup to do what? To implement more laws. Okay, and these governments did do that. They try to seize more power, and they're slowly starting to do all these things. But we're in a time where, hey, things are speeding up. But let me just go right into it. 2 Ezra 15:14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. We read that in Revelation 12 and 12. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. Gun. It's going to turn into a gunfight. It's going to turn into a gunfight of the government against the government. Now, right. I seen this. This is on RT as well. Police seize guns, arrest 11 at Freedom Convoy blockade. See that? So they're already equating, this convoy with, guns and them trying to come up against the government. Okay, whether set up or not, whether they had guns or not, whether they had a right to hold guns or not. Okay. This is all a setup. Okay, but it's all prophecy. And these things, are things that we should be looking for, okay, for the return of our Lord. This signals the return of our Lord, okay? Yahweh Shai. These things will be going on during a time, that really it's going to get worse. The beginning of evil is when you go into the next chapter over, 2 Ezra 16. Okay, as well as the beginning of sorrows. What is that? Matthew 24. Okay, I read that. For there shall be sedition among men. Okay, let's look at this word sedition. Sedition. Okay. conduct or language inciting rebellion against the authority of a state. Insurrection, rebellion. And this is essentially, I mean, what the truckers are doing, it is a rebellion. It actually is a rebellion. It is somewhat, I wouldn't say sedition, because they're not, it's peaceful. They're just, hey, you watch some of the video, they partying, they singing, they dancing, you know, even though it's going to get serious. For there shall be sedition of men, so we know what that means. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, Trudeau, okay, the royal Canadian government, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, okay? They're not going to regard the police force. They're not going to regard the military, okay? They're going to be shooting at the military. They're going to be fighting the military. As when you go and you look at a lot of things that are going on in Europe, Germany, France, Belgium, okay, places like that with these scam dates, you know, you got people literally throwing bowls with the police, throwing rocks, you know, bricks, chairs, okay? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because the government is going to have, you know, control over your movement. They're going to block you off, okay? As well as you're going to have things like this blockade, you know, of truckers. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. I'm going to end it there because this is what everything is leading up into is great tribulation. The lack of bread, well, this is part of it, okay? This trucker strike, and this is hopping on other places around the world as well, okay? People are, you know, it's like wildfire, or we'll do it too, okay? And now, why do you have the military here with high-powered weapons? Because it's going to come a point to where the government is going to be fighting against the citizens, okay? And pretty much all these governments, the citizen is, you know, they're a potential terrorist. They're an enemy of the state, okay? So you've seen it. You know, we're going to continue to watch. Remember, continue to pray without ceasing, you know, because our Lord Yahweh Shai, he's on his way, okay? And until next time, shalom to the elect.